What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and to episode 2 of Building an MMO Solo, the series where I am building an, air quotes, massively multiplayer online role-playing game completely from scratch, completely solo, and completely in public so that you can follow along and play the game as it's being constructed. This is Stirge Hunters, and today I am very excited to share that as I am recording this video on the 30th of March 2025, Stirge Hunters has been continuously online and functional for 2 months with a total combined downtime of less than 5 minutes, which feels like a big milestone to me. And if you'd like to jump into the game and to try out Stirge Hunters right now, you can do so by heading over to twinrova.dev. And if you do decide to check it out, I would really love to hear your feedback and any ideas that you have for the game in the comments of the video. Now today, in the second devlog, we actually have a lot to cover. I believed that I would be releasing content with every video that I make and publish, but the latest update has been taking me quite a while to build and work out all the kinks. So today I am giving you a teaser of the version 2.2 update. In today's video we are going to go over where the game is at right now. The live game has had some updates. I'm going to break down the upcoming update in version 2.2. But before we get into all of that fun stuff, I want to show you just a little bit of footage that for me was completely magical. Shortly after I dropped the first devlog, several of you jumped online and played Stirge Hunters with me. It was really a very meaningful time for me. Really enjoyed it, and so I just want to throw some of those clips up right now and relive the moment. I'm recording this right now because two or three other people have connected. I just posted the video about Stirge Hunters, the initial release, and right now me and Aetheros, I just died. We're both fighting a Stirge at the same time. We keep dying. Okay, here's both of us fighting the same Stirge at the same time. This is pretty sick. Yeah, got the kill. Let's see where we're at. 12 kills at the moment. This is so sick. Okay, this is Aetheros and myself delving together. This is the first day. The first day that Stirge Hunters is live. I'm just gonna follow. Okay, here we go. Tag teaming a Stirge makes it much easier. Now, interestingly, the Stirge can hit both of us at once. I don't have the Stirge like choosing between us. Whoa! 1-hit KO. Sick. I think we're gonna have like 3 to turn in or something. Yeah. Epic. 15 Stirges. Wow, this is so cool having like my first kind of group play experience with someone random on day one. I don't know. This is just exciting seeing people connected and playing. Huge shout out to Aetheros and to the other people who have jumped on and spent some time trying to run up the kill count. What? We just hit 100 Stirges killed in Stirge Hunters. I can't adequately express how just exciting and fulfilling it was to see more than a dozen people shortly after I uploaded the first devlog jump into and invest their time into this little experiment of a game that I am building. And so thank you so very much to everyone who jumped online to play with me on that first day, and to anyone that has tried out the game since then. I appreciate you so very much. Now that we have that fun stuff out of the way, let's actually dive into the meat of today's devlog, which is a breakdown of everything that is Stirge Hunters version 0.2. Now, there's a lot of shiny new fun stuff to go over on this screen. This is a local developmental version of Stirge Hunters, but before we break this down, I actually want to jump over to the live server. This is the live game over at twinrova.dev, because I did kind of silently release an update to the game. And so you may notice that at the top of the screen in this navigation bar, we now have two new links. We have a server link and a server info link. And server info gives you this. This is an API I created to query some basic information about a Stirge Hunters server, which is really cool. Yeah, it took me a bit of effort to get my automated testing to work with this new API, but I knew that this would be useful and important. So yeah, this is actually released and up. You can go and at any time when you head over to twinrova.dev, you can click on server info to check out some basic statistics about the version of the game that is currently up and running. And so we have the server launch time. So this version of the server was launched on March 8th. We have the server uptime, which is accurate, and now we have the server version. And I'll circle back to this. Right now we're on version 0.2.1. Now we have this active client connections 14. This is not accurate. I will push a fix to this in the future, but right now, sometimes when players are not leaving the API, the game server is not removing them correctly. And so this is an inflated number. However, the unique client connections should be accurate. This shows 34 unique client connections since March 8th. We had 37 unique connections from the upload of Devlog 1 to March 8th, and so that's roughly 60 to 70 unique connections, which is very, very exciting. And then, of course, we have the number of bloody Stirges slain, 192, which is also accurate. Yeah, so this is the server info page. Now, let's talk about the server version. So you don't really have to understand what this means to follow along, but I've been using semantic versioning as the versioning scheme for Stirge Hunters, and in doing so, I incremented the game version from 0.1 to 0.2 when I released this update that included the new server API. And 0.2.0 was the original release. There were actually some fatal bugs, and so I patched those and re-released at 0.2.1. Now, since then, I've decided to kind of change my mind about following semantic versioning, which would allow me to kind of increment the minor version without releasing new game content. I actually want to tie the minor version increment to new game content, new content for you to play in the game. And so here, right now, the live version of the game is at 0.2.1. The upcoming release that will include new game content, I'm going to be referring to that as version 0.2, but it's really going to be version 0.2.2. And so in the future, you'll be able to expect minor version increments to represent new content for you to play in the game. And if I choose to add something, infrastructural or not really user facing, or even make small tweaks like rebalances or what have you, I will do my best to increment the patch version instead of the minor version in those cases. Yeah, and so that's everything. Version 0.2.1. I guess we also have this server link at the top, and this just takes you back to the game itself. So not only will the Stirge Hunters link take you home, but the server link will actually take you straight into the game. Awesome. So next up, let's dive into the new playable content in the upcoming Stirge Hunters version 0.2 release. Now, I want to work very hard to never promise something that I can't deliver on. I'd really like to avoid hyping up this game or its potential beyond what is necessary. And to do that, I'm going to keep these devlogs laser focused on content that is actively in development or that is very close to launch. That is, rather than making some long-term roadmap available that may or may not change, hyping up player expectations, and then letting them down if anything changes in the future. Rather than promising the world and hoping that you stick around long enough for that dream or vision to be realized someday, as happens all too often in the MMO scene, I would much rather have my game be playable, functional, and fun at every step along the way, every step along the journey. And so in version 0.1, my goal was to release a minimal, fun game, right? It is very basic, very minimal. I mean, in version 0.2, I'm taking that one baby step forward. And so I want you to know that I do have a much larger and grander vision for the game, for Stirge Hunters, but I want to reveal that slowly over time. And so everything that I show you in today's devlogs and in every devlog that I create in the future, I want you to know that it is actively in development or very close to release, not something that you're going to have to wait several months or years in the future to play. And so with that soapbox in mind and commitment from me to you that I will not hype you up and then let you down if I can avoid it, I'm excited to share that Stirge Hunters version 0.2 will contain a very minimal example of an in-game economy for the first time, which I'm very excited about. Now here we have a Stirge Hunters version 0.2.2 server running locally on my machine, a developmental version of the game, and I'll just kind of break down what's here for you. So we have a new intro message. I added this message that says, "You are the first brave Stirge Hunter to arrive if you happen to be the first person to log into a newly updated Stirge Hunters server." Kind of fun. But then we have this new art, which you've been looking at for a while now, but I'm super excited to include this visual depiction of the outpost. And I still am not going to call myself a master of pixel art, but we are going to improve the graphics of this game over time, and so I'm excited to start doing that now with this little visual rendering depiction of the outpost. Kind of a visual response to let you know when you arrive there. Okay, we have the usual message that there is one honorable Stirge Hunter actively working at the outpost. That is myself. And then we have the message, thus far the Stirge Hunters report 172 dreadful Stirges sent to the void. This is our global Stirge kill counter, and this is a number that I took from the last time I scraped this number from the live server. It has advanced since then. But yeah, this is the new scene when you arrive at the outpost. But now we have some improvements to the action bar. We have a new icon here, and I'm excited to show you that the UI now has words. There are words that hover above the icons, and this isn't the biggest update, and of course this is not final. We're going to continue iterating over the UI, but one of the first things that I knew or disliked about version 0.1 is that when you play the game, when you jump into the game, you don't really know what these buttons do, and you still don't really know what they do, even with the words. But this should be just a little helpful for new players jumping into the game to understand what the heck they're doing. I have the how to play section up at the top. I'm probably going to remove this rather than keeping this up to date. I'm going to try to continuously improve the UI to be kind of self-explanatory. So this is pretty cool. On the action bar, we have two options now. We have the option to explore. We have the option to move into the wild. This button, if I click this, will take you deeper into the wilderness. But we have a new second button, the blacksmith. So exciting. When I click on the blacksmith's icon, my character will begin moving towards the blacksmith, and then we will arrive. Zelnaroth arrives at the blacksmith. The air is filled with the smell of burning charcoal. We have this new pixel art, just a visual response showing you that you've reached the blacksmith. we get this message. Zelnaroth has 0 Stirge carcasses and 0 iron bolts. The blacksmith will trade 15 iron bolts per Stirge carcass. And so this screen more or less encapsulates the version 0.2 update. So in the next version of the game, you are going to have the ability to, after killing a Stirge, harvest its carcass. And if you can carry the carcass back to the outpost, you can go to the blacksmith and you can trade your Stirge carcasses for iron bolts. And you might be thinking to yourself, why would I need that? Don't we have an infinite supply of bolts? Not anymore. As of version 0.2, when you spawn into the game, you'll have a crossbow. You don't have to purchase the crossbow, but you will have a hand axe and a crossbow with no bolts. So you're going to have to head into the wilderness, kill a Stirge, harvest its carcass, carry it back to the outpost, enter the blacksmith, and trade that carcass with the blacksmith to receive iron bolts. And then you can take these bolts back into the wilderness and use them to kill more Stirges, collect more, harvest more Stirge carcasses, and trade them for more bolts. You can start to build up a supply of bolts. And if you ever run out of iron bolts, your player will draw their hand axe and begin fighting with the axe instead of the crossbow. And to make this meaningful, the hand axe is much more difficult to kill a Stirge with than the crossbow. The hand axe has a damage range of 1 to 2, while the crossbow has a damage range of 2 to 5. And so because Stirges have exactly 5 hit points, a crossbow can actually, with a lucky shot, kill a Stirge in a single hit, where in the best case scenario you'll need to land 3 blows with a hand axe to kill a Stirge. Very cool. Super excited to have a very minimalist and basic economy in the game. Was also very surprised to see how much effort it took to get this into the game. Building an MMO, everything is just a little more challenging due to the the networked nature of the game. But I digress. We have the in this screen we have the action bar. Oh, and this is another cool update. This is something I was actually pretty proud to show, is that the action bar is now dynamically changing based on where you are in the game. In Stirge Hunters version 0.1, there was a static action bar to the bottom of the screen. And so if I click on the exploration button and I start moving into the wilderness, I still have all of the same icons: explore, fight, and flee. Oh, let's go ahead and fight this Stirge. We have infinite ammo. We hit a Stirge for 3, hits us for 1, hits us for 1. We definitely have accuracy is a problem. You have low accuracy with these weapons, but they do hit pretty hard. The crossbow has the chance for a 1-hit KO. Awesome. Okay, so then we get the kill, and we can, in version 0.1, use the flee button to head back to the outpost. And once we arrive, we report the dead Stirge, and the global kill count increases. Hey, we're at 193 on the live server now. Epic. Very cool. I actually saw someone online earlier today. That was pretty fun. They kind of explored for a second and then dipped. But that was cool. Anyway, this is just to show you that the version 0.1 of Stirge Hunters has this kind of static action bar, and in 0.2 we'll have this dynamic action bar, which I am excited for. Okay, so there's a post button. This is to head back to the outpost from the blacksmith. So this is just kind of like your exit from this screen. And then we have a trade button, and we don't have any carcasses to trade. This is also the only place where you can see how many iron bolts you have. I want to make this easier in the future, but for right now, the blacksmith is the only place where you can see this information, other than, running out of bolts and realizing that you have 0 remaining in combat. If I click on the trade button, I'll get this message. Zelnaroth doesn't have any Stirge carcasses to trade with the blacksmith. So we're going to have to earn some Stirge carcasses before we can trade with the blacksmith. I'm going to head back to the outpost. Then the action bar is going to dynamically change. Again, to match the outpost, we arrive back, which is very cool. And now we'll head into the wild. Zelnaroth begins moving deeper into the wilderness. Now this should look very similar. Oh, immediately, Stirge erupts from the shadows, some new messaging. I attack, and now we get really similar messaging, but instead of leveling their crossbow and firing crossbow bolts, Zelnaroth is swinging their hand axe. Epic. We landed a kill. We have a new skin button. Zelnaroth kneels beside a fallen Stirge and carefully harvests a Stirge carcass. We're going to start moving back towards the outpost with our carcass. And wow, what a great fortune to come across a Stirge only one space away from the outpost. That is pretty cool. In case you aren't already familiar, the wilderness is just a linear path away from the outpost. So the whole game world is the outpost is one zone. The blacksmith is a second zone, and then the wilderness is a linear series of zones. So there is a wilderness zone that is one step away from the outpost, that is 2 steps away from the outpost, and so on and so forth. And by exploring, you move away from the outpost. By fleeing, you move back towards the outpost. So with that, it's very lucky that only one space away from the outpost we came across a Stirge. We were able to kill it in return. I'm going to head to the blacksmith. I always have really great luck, it seems, when I'm recording these devlogs, which is awesome. And here we are. We have 1 Stirge carcass to trade and 0 iron bolts. I'm going to click the trade button, and we get the message, Zelnaroth trades 1 Stirge carcass for 15 iron bolts. Now, if I go back to the if I go back to the outpost, and then if I go back into the blacksmith so that I can see that message about how many bolts that I have, I will see that I have 0 Stirge carcasses now and 15 iron bolts. Very cool. So the trade worked. It went through. We now have iron bolts. Oh, and I think it's still a little buggy, but you might have noticed that on arriving at the outpost, the global kill count incremented based on the number of new Stirge carcasses that we brought with us to the outpost. And so if you kill a Stirge and you don't bring back its carcass, then the townsfolk have no reason to believe that you killed a Stirge. So the carcass is now required to increase the global kill count. You will need to skin the Stirges that you come across to kind of prove that you did it. Now, I need to continue testing it, but I'm pretty sure that if you leave and re-enter the outpost over and over again with the same Stirge carcass, I don't think that the kill count will just infinitely grow, but with you being able to fake that you killed 1 million Stirges when you really are just carrying the same carcass back and forth. I don't think that's the case, but I need to double, triple check that before releasing this update, obviously. Okay, so now that we have some bolts, let's head back into the wilderness. Zelnaroth begins moving deeper into the wilderness. And from here, on the action bar, we have the wild button, which is to move deeper into the wilderness, and the post button to head back towards the outpost. Zelnaroth levels their crossbow at a foul Stirge, and so now we are firing iron bolts at the Stirge, which are still very hard to hit, but they will deal between 2 and 5 damage, which is a slight upgrade from version 0.1. They would deal from 1 to 5 damage in the last version of the game. Man, are we going to run out of bolts before we kill it? Yeah, we might. Fires an iron bolt. Ah, we died. No, we died with the bolts. Now this is still work in progress. Right now you're arriving at the outpost immediately and it's printing the image to the screen when you die. And so this is taking up too much of the screen. You're not getting the death message. So planning to add a respawn button that you need to click before you respawn back at the outpost. And there are a few other nuances that maybe if we're lucky I can demonstrate. So first off, of course, if you run out of bolts, the player character will pull out the axe. Oh, Zelnaroth is firing an iron bolt at a Stirge. So this is hilarious. Zelnaroth has run out of bolts. Zelnaroth draws their hand axe. So here we just found a bug. Thank you so very much for being along for the ride as that happened. It looks like I am not zeroing out the number of bolts that you have access to when you die. So I will definitely fix that. But we did get to see the moment where Zelnaroth ran out of bolts and drew their axe. We'll go ahead and take the skin of the Stirge Hunter. And we died again. Let's go to the blacksmith. I want to make sure, do I have any Stirge carcasses left? No. So I did properly zero out the carcass that we collected, but I did not properly zero out the number of bolts that we have. So I was able to die and then respawn with my bolts. Don't worry, you won't be that fortunate in the live game. Okay, so that was cool. That was one thing I wanted to show you. The other thing is that there's actually a cap on how many Stirge carcasses that you can carry at one time. So I'm just roughly guesstimating that you would be able to, without any kind of like backpack or anything, you've got your axe, you've got your crossbow. I'm just guesstimating these giant Stirges that you can comfortably carry around 3 of them. And so if you attempt, we'll see if we die again. Hey, we hit for a 2 with the axe. Nice. And for a 1. Ooh, come on. Let's get a dub. It's so hard to kill the Stirges with hand axe. Nice. Okay, let's run. Let's run as fast as we can. No. Okay, let's actually try to run this time. Oh, come on. Oh, no. We moved close to the outpost. Perfect. Yeah, we made it. Zelnaroth happily reports 2 dead Stirges at the outpost. Awesome. So we raised the kill count to 175 on my dev server. Very, very, very nice. Cool. We feel refreshed, so our hits are restored by arriving at the outpost. We're going to move to the blacksmith, and we have 2 Stirge carcasses to trade. Let's go ahead and do that. Nice. On the 3rd click, we don't have any Stirge carcasses to trade with the blacksmith. Very cool. So we now have the crossbow. If I can kill 4 Stirges in one life, which would be a feat, but with the crossbow and some luck, it's very possible. I can show you that on trying to collect the 4th Stirge carcass, you get a message basically saying that you can't carry a 4th carcass. So let's give it a shot. Let's see how many Stirges we can kill with 30 bolts. So it's best case scenario when we run into a Stirge really close to the outpost. A miss. We're still taking plenty of damage though. Yeah, the Stirge just, and we died. Oh no. Yeah, the Stirges, they're more accurate than you. They only hit for 1, but they hit you more often than you hit them. You can deal more damage to a Stirge than a Stirge can deal to you. But, yikes. Okay, actually, we should be able to test the bug now. If I head to the blacksmith, we should see that I still have bolts. Yeah, so I was able to die and respawn with 20 iron bolts left. So funny. Okay. Yeah, so that is effectively how the content is changing in version 0.2. Now, the way that the game works is also, it's functioning very differently. So in version 0.1, most of my time in development was spent in building the game server and client, basically creating the shared persistent space for people to connect to and, move around in. That was most of the effort. And so the actual fighting, the exploring the wilderness from the outpost and fighting Stirges, that was very, how do I say, I don't know, gimmicky. It was all kind of like one file in a loop. I don't know. It wasn't very modular. The game piece of it was pretty hacked together. Most of the robust effort of my development was in the networking code. Because, for an online role-playing game, for a, quote-quote MMO, the networking piece of it is the most important, the most complicated piece to get right. So in this version of the game, in 0.2, to make this happen, I actually had to make a ton of changes to how Stirge Hunters runs behind the scene. So no longer is this like a gimmicky, hard-coded loop. Each zone of the game now will tick if is now independent. They're all kind of their own real space. So okay, I guess here's a way to explain it. Before, it's like your player was just there, and I was sending you messages about what your player sees. I didn't really have zones as objects in the game that were really ticking. That was kind of faked to you in version 0.1. In 0.2, there are real permanent zones that even if everyone logs out of the game, the zones are still there in memory. They will still, remember if a Stirge is there or not, and they will only tick if a Stirge is present, or if a player is present. Really, the Stirge doesn't have anything to do if a player is not there. So if a player enters a zone, then the zone is ticking any Stirges and any players that are in that zone. So we now have a more kind of modular world. We have a world with zones, and I can create new zones much more quickly and effectively now than I could before. I could make new monsters to fight. I could give you new places to go and explore. That's all going to be much more easy now after the kind of back end changes to how zoning works from version 0.1 to 0.2. Another kind of fun pair of updates. So one is that Stirges, because this is not as hacky as it was before, Stirges can no longer just magically hit everyone in a zone. So because of the gimmicky kind of loop nature of version 0.1, when a pair of players are in a zone with a Stirge, every player is being ticked in its combat with the Stirge. The Stirge actually had the chance to hit every player in the zone at once. Now, a Stirge in a zone actually has to select a player to attack and will only fight one player at a time. So if you manage to get a group of players, 2 or 3, synced up at the same time and exploring the same zones at the same time in version 0.2, you're going to have a much safer time, as the Stirge will only be able to fight and kill and pick off one Stirge hunter at a time. So that is a pretty cool one. The other one is a pretty significant overhaul to how messaging works. So gone will be the days of a global message stream where you can see what everyone is doing everywhere, no matter how far away they are from you. You will only see and interact with the players that are in the same zone as you. So when you're at the outpost, you're more likely to see more players kind of all together. Moving in and out of the blacksmith, you'll be able to see other players standing in the blacksmith. And when you explore in the wilderness, you'll see players as they enter and exit wilderness zones. But you won't have this big spam as players are fighting in zones that you are not located in. And to make that happen, I had to go from broadcasting every message to every player to having a new system that allows me to send messages to specific players based on where they're at in the game. Yeah, all of that was a lot of work, but I think the outcome is cool. This is going to be, I mean, in my test gameplay, it's already much more fun than version 0.1, having a reason more than increasing the global kill count, having a kind of a resource to collect, and then the ability to trade that to someone for another resource. That is pretty cool. And so it's going to be much easier now for me to add new drops from kills and to add new things to trade for at the blacksmith. It's going to be easier to add new shops. This is all to say the difference between 0.1 to 0.2, it's only a few small pieces of content, but the engine itself has grown significantly. Now have the ability to add creatures, items, shops, zones, all of this much more effectively than I could do before. And this can only mean growth and more fun to be had in the near future. And I think that is everything. Version 0.2 is not released yet because combat is still just a little buggy, mostly around the collection of carcasses, making sure, I want to verify that all of that is accurate. Of course, we have small bugs like the keeping your bolts when you die that need to be fixed. But also, I want to run through some more rigorous testing of situations with multiple players online at once. So I'm going to work out all of that, all of the networking kinks before I release the game. I'm hoping that it's not the game, the update. I'm hoping that this is out in the next week or two, but please don't hold me to that. As soon as the update is ready to go, I will roll it out for you all, and I am so very excited to see what you think of this new content. I really hope you enjoyed today's devlog. I'll try to create these more often now, especially knowing that I won't just be tying devlog videos to content releases, given that taking a new piece of content from ideation through development to test and delivery will take some time. I'll try to make more videos and keep you updated about what I'm working on, how far along I am in the process, to give you little glimpses and sneak peeks of what is to come in Stirge Hunters. And I'm really just so excited to be building this game. It really feels like the sky is the limit. There's nowhere to go from here but up. And I'm so grateful for everyone that has invested their time into watching these videos, into sharing their excitement with me, sharing their feedback or their ideas with me, or investing their time into actually playing the game, killing Stirges, exploring this little world that I am creating and I will slowly grow over time. I'm so grateful. This is so exciting, and I already cannot wait until the next update. We are exactly 2 months in to the lifespan of Stirge Hunters, and hopefully there is a long, long time to go. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe for more solo MMO building content. I'm Dwinrova, and this has been episode 2 of Building an MMO Solo. Until the next time, happy hunting and fight on!